Have you ever felt that you've taken a wrong turn? A deep feeling that you've missed your chance, that you're failing at this life. What if everything you were supposed to do, the core of your being, is slipping through your fingers because you chose the wrong path, gave up when it got hard? It's a heavy weight to carry, isn't it? But what if this idea of failure is just a story we tell ourselves? It's not about judgment from the heavens. It's not some cosmic report card. The ancient wisdom points to something completely different. It's simpler and actually much more liberating. Once you truly see it this way, you'll never look at your mistakes in the same way again. Because the truth about the paths that seem to fail, it might be the most hopeful thing you'll hear. Let's be honest with each other. This is the thought that can keep you up at night. Not fear of what comes after, but the nagging question: am I wasting my life? Am I off track? Will I look back and see only missed opportunities? Many people carry this weight. They look at their lives, a collection of broken starts and detours, and believe they have completely failed. They feel stuck. For a long time, people thought that taking a wrong turn meant some kind of consequence, some spiritual debt. But when you observe life deeply, like watching a river, you see something else. A grander pattern emerges, a deep understanding of what this journey is really about. What we think of as failure, well, life uses it in a way we've been taught to completely ignore. Here's the first interesting discovery: you can't actually fail the journey. Now, that might sound strange. Stay with me for a moment. From the perspective of life itself, failure simply doesn't exist. Not in the way our minds define it. A woman felt her whole purpose was to be a mother. But it didn't happen. Her body couldn't carry a child. Adoptions fell through. She reached her later years feeling her entire life's purpose was a failure. But deep observation shows us something else. Her life was like a seed that had 3 ways it could grow. One branch was to be a mother. Another was to be a teacher. A third was to be a guide. When the first branch couldn't grow, life's energy flowed into the second. For 20 years, she had been a school teacher. She guided and nurtured thousands of children. She had been a mother to many, just not in the way she expected. There was no failure, just a different path to the same deep purpose of nurturing. Think about it like this. Life doesn't see detours as mistakes. It sees them as exploration. Every wrong turn just shows you a new part of the landscape. Every time you fall, you learn something new about the ground. What you are calling failure, your deepest nature just calls experience. Life isn't grading you with a red pen. It's simply flowing through you. If seeing things this way helps you breathe a little easier, then I invite you to continue exploring with us. This is a path of understanding, not judgment. Subscribe to our community and let's walk it together. In fact, through deep observation, you can notice 3 ways that failure shows up in our lives. But if you look closer, each one is actually something else entirely, something much more useful. The first kind is what you could call a changed path. Sometimes, what looks like you failed is just life adapting. Your life isn't a fixed track, it's a river. Another person's choices, or your own, can put a big boulder in the riverbed. A man felt from childhood his path was to be a doctor. But life happened. His father passed away. He had to go to work to support his family. Medical school became an impossible dream. He spent his life as a factory foreman, feeling like he'd completely failed his purpose. But look at the essence. The river's purpose isn't the channel, it's the water. His purpose wasn't the title doctor, it was to care for others. As a foreman, through the safety rules he put in place, he prevented more harm than he could have ever fixed as a surgeon. He helped people dealing with their own struggles just by being a steady, kind presence. His purpose didn't fail. It just changed its shape to fit the reality of his life. He was a healer all along. He just couldn't see it because it didn't look the way he thought it would. I learned a lot from this way of seeing. In the comments, just write this down. My path unfolds with every step. It's a simple reminder that the journey continues, even when it twists and turns. The second kind is the waiting path. Some of us feel like failures because our real work isn't meant for the springtime of our lives. We judge ourselves based on other people's timing. A woman came to a master at 70, feeling bitter. She believed she had stories to share, things to write. But family, work, just surviving life always got in the way. She felt it was over. Too late. The master saw it differently. He told her, "Your path was never to write when you were young. As a young woman, you had passion, but not deep wisdom. In middle age, you had experience, but not the wider view. Now you have all three. Your work begins now. Those 70 years weren't a waste. They were the preparation." The soil needed to get rich before the seed could truly grow. She wrote her first book at 72. It helped many people. Her so-called failure was just a matter of perfect, patient timing. How many of us think we've missed our chance when really, the main part of our journey hasn't even begun? And the third kind, this one is interesting. Let's call it the path of learning to fall. Sometimes, a life is meant for practice, for learning how to get things wrong. We need to understand disappointment, what it feels like to not complete something. A young man, very gifted, was confused. Everything he started fell apart. Businesses failed, relationships ended. He felt like he was cursed. But ancient wisdom suggests that in previous chapters of his journey, everything came too easily to him. Success was effortless, so he never learned compassion for those who struggled. This lifetime, the path was simply to fail, to learn what it feels like, to develop a soft heart for others who stumble. The falls weren't a deviation from the path. The falls were the path. That season of falling was preparing him for a season of lifting others up. Because now, he knows how the ground feels. So what really happens when our time comes to an end, and we feel we haven't done what we set out to do? The old stories talk about judgment, but wisdom traditions describe something much more compassionate. A simple recognition. You see your life's path, but from a higher vantage point. And from there, you don't feel regret. You feel understanding. You see how every failure was actually a crucial lesson. That broken relationship taught you how to be strong on your own. That business that failed taught you what real value is. The things you called your greatest failures, your truest self calls your greatest lessons. The most beautiful part is this: the story doesn't end. Life's energy looks for continuation. Your unfinished song might be the inspiration for someone else to start singing. Your abandoned dream of building a community center might be the spark that lights up in your own child's heart years later. The man who felt he failed because he couldn't build his healing center, his son felt the call, the urge to build it. The son completed the work. He said he could feel his father's quiet encouragement with him the entire time. The path was completed. The water reached the ocean. It just flowed through a different part of the riverbed. But here's a truth that often gets missed. We don't just have one single purpose. Life is richer than that. Think of a large tree. Its purpose isn't just to grow tall. It's also to give shade, to be a home for birds, to hold the soil, to create beauty. It has many purposes all happening at once. Your main path might be to learn patience, but you also have smaller paths, to learn to forgive, to create something small, to be kind to a stranger. You might feel you are failing on your main path, but you are succeeding on all these others without even noticing. It's a quiet victory. Now, this may be surprising, but some of the wisest travelers on this journey, they actually choose paths that look like failure from the outside. They are like guides who walk into a thorny patch, first to show others that it's possible to get through. They take on difficulty so others can watch and learn. They model what it is to be imperfect, so the rest of us don't have to live in fear of it. Their apparent failure is actually a very high form of service to others. This is what's truly worth understanding. From the wide perspective of life, there is no such thing as a wrong choice, a wasted year, or a failed journey. There is only experience. There is only growth. That difficult relationship wasn't a failure. It was a deep lesson in finding your own strength. That job you lost wasn't a failure. It was a lesson in discovering who you are without a title. Every fall is a class in life's great school. Here is the ultimate truth of the matter. The only real way to fail is to stop learning, to stop trying to grow. As long as you are questioning, as long as you are trying, even if you are stumbling and making a mess, you are on the path. Life doesn't measure success by how many goals you checked off a list. It measures success by how much your heart has opened. Did you learn to be more compassionate than you were before? Did you try, even though you were afraid? Did you get back up after you fell? If the answer is yes, then you have not failed. You are succeeding in a way that is much deeper than your mind can grasp. So, if you're carrying that heavy weight of failure, maybe it's time to just gently set it down. Your life doesn't see a mistake where you do. It sees the courage it took for you to even try. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who feels they are lost or off track. What if one of your failures was actually your truest self succeeding at a lesson you didn't even know you were learning? When we start to see our stumbles as part of the path, we free ourselves up to keep walking. If you're ready to continue this journey of inner clarity, subscribe. This is just the beginning. Remember this: the travelers who seem to fail are often the bravest, because it takes more courage to risk falling than to stay safe in one place. It takes more strength to be vulnerable than to always appear strong. Your mistakes are not stains on your character. They are marks of courage. They are proof you were brave enough to walk the path, not just look at the map. So if you are worried about failing, know this: the only true failure would be to not even take the first step. And because you are here, because you are asking these questions, you are not failing. You are growing. You just can't see the full bloom yet, but the seeds have been planted, and they are doing just fine.